Sup peoples, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, you might not know this, but for the last 3 years I've been working on writing the script for my hopefully ongoing comic series, which I've currently named Project Punk, codenamed. In my last video, I talked about making a world document with details about the world, the characters, everything that a potential artist would need to know before going on to illustrate. In this video, I'm going to be talking about reaching out to artists. It's so scary. I'm really nervous. I've been thinking about it all. I just want to say with a disclaimer on this, I'm posting this so that you can hopefully learn from it when you try and do the same, but this is just my experience reaching out to people in the way that I do. It's not guaranteed. There's a bit of luck that goes into it. Don't give up just because what worked for me doesn't work, but also it's totally possible this video ends with me not having successfully found an artist yet. So I'm not going to give up though. About the publisher that I want to work with, I want to work with a creator-owned comic publisher, which means that myself and the rest of my creative team, such as an artist, colorist, letterer, we would own the rights to the story. It's not like Marvel where I'd be writing a story that they owned. I would own my story, which is important to me. I want to have complete creative control of this story and these characters, especially because they're not from any creative universe already in print. It would be more like an indie comic. So when it comes to finding an artist, there's a couple different things that I wanted to talk about. First is, if this is your first time trying to publish a comic, and if you're watching my video, I assume it is, because if not, you probably already know what you're doing. The chances of a established artist wanting to sign on with you seems slim. At least to me, it seems very unlikely. But I'm going to try anyway, because I want to take a couple things into account. When I'm looking for an artist, I have to think about a lot of different things. The first is, do I like their style? Does it fit the story that I'm telling? And from there, I also have to go, what range do they have? Like, I might love their characters, but then maybe they're not very good at drawing backgrounds. And a story is going to need all of those. Or maybe they only want to draw fantasy and my story is science fiction. You have to think about their strong suits and things as well. Third, I have to think about, will they be flaky? Like, that's not a very nice way of putting it, but I'm going to be honest, I have to take that into consideration. I know that if I have to, I can push myself and put my life on hold to churn out an issue a month. I know that I care enough about this to put in the work. I'm not inside an artist's head, especially an artist who's never worked in the industry before. If there's an artist that illustrates something that I love and I read and it was a monthly comic, then I know that they can grind and they can get those issues done every single month. If they're a new artist that's unknown, I really don't know that about them. I would just have to go off of a gut feeling. I'm putting my story into their hands. I want to know that I can trust them. So I have to think about all of these things when reaching out to someone, which is why I've decided that I'm going to reach out to 2 artists who are already established in the industry, known artists. Brings up the first place that you can find comic book artists is, on the backs of your comic books. So I've chosen 2 artists that I want to reach out to. I'm not going to say who they are in case they turn me down, which is likely. I haven't asked their permission to include them in a vlog. So I'm just going to say I'm going to reach out to 2 known artists. I'm going to send them emails individually. In a dream world where they both said yes, I don't want to have to then turn one down. So I'm going to reach out to one, and I'm thinking that if I don't hear back in 1 or 2 weeks, I will reach out to the other. And if I don't hear back from them in 1 or 2 weeks, then I will begin looking at art from less known places like Instagram, DeviantArt, other locations. I'll have a whole video about that if that ends up happening, because that's going to be really helpful for anybody in my position, because how do you find an artist that's not known? And don't worry, that video will probably happen. It'll most likely happen. And if it doesn't happen this time, then it'll probably happen in a future time, because I plan on vlogging about all of my different series, and I have lots up here. So yes, I'm gonna keep stalling because I don't want to reach out to them because I'm nervous. But earlier I found both of their emails. I don't believe that they're working on anything currently. At least I couldn't find anything, but it's totally possible that they're working on something that just hasn't been announced yet. but I'm going to walk you through sort of the layout of the email that I send in the future. I've chosen the 2 artists that I want to reach out to, and I'm going to be sending them emails. I'm currently just using my personal email because I don't have another email. Maybe that's not smart, maybe it is, I don't know. Anyway, I want it to be personal. That's why I'm not telling you exactly what I'm writing, because each email should be personalized. You're not reaching out to a machine, you're reaching out to a person who you're asking to collaborate with you because you love their creativity and their style. So, we're just gonna start with hello, insert name. And then I'm going to talk about how I first found their art, why I'm asking them. I think that this is nice because it shows that you know about them. You didn't just see a random name on the internet and decide to reach out to them. You're choosing them for a specific reason. Okay, so I've written up a brief description of who I am and how much work I've gotten done on my current series, but I'm going to keep fine-tuning that because I'm not totally happy with it. I want to communicate that I haven't published a comic before because I have to be honest about that. However, I don't want to be like self-depreciating because I need to come off as confident in my story and professional, which I can be both of those things. I'm just not feeling them right now. I'm feeling nervous. I've now talked a little bit about my comic, and then I'm going to basically if you'd be interested in working with me, I'd be happy to send you more information or copies of scripts, all that sort of stuff. And I want to make it so that even if they're not interested, even if they're too busy right now, whatever the case, I'm leaving it open to a possible collaboration in the future. I'm going to offer to send them more information, like the Word document that we made in the last video, that I made in the last video. I'm going to offer to send them scripts. I'm going to thank them for their time and leave things open to future collaborations. Alright, now that I've written all of that up, I'm going to ask my mom to test read it because I think that it's important to have someone just double check your grammar, let me know if you're coming off right, just stuff like that. And then if she thinks it's all good, I will send it to them. Regarding reaching out to established comic book artists and how to find contact information, I don't know if I'm sending it to the right email, but so far both people that I've wanted to reach out to have had websites. And I found these simply by looking up their name online, and a website will pop up. And I've gone there and it's talked a bit about their work. Sometimes they'll have blogs, and then they both had contact information. And it was an email, and I'm just sending the email there. And hopefully they will see it. And if I don't hear back in 1 or 2 weeks, then I will consider that they either didn't see it and are not going to see it, or that they saw it and are just not interested. Hopefully I at least get a decline message. I think I would honestly even just appreciate a decline message, because that means that they read it and they saw it and that they took the time. So I'm not going to post this until I have the second bit of the video where I tell you whether they said yes or no. I guess in about 1 or 2 weeks, because I'm expecting a no. That was a self-depreciating joke. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Well, soon for you, a while for me. Welcome back to the video. It is not 2 weeks later. I actually got a reply within 24 hours, which was amazing and just so cool to be acknowledged that fast, and also to not have to wait so long and be all nervous. It was not a yes, but it wasn't me being ignored either. And honestly, just getting a kindly worded no absolutely made my day. Because the way that you think about these things is incredibly important, especially when trying to break into a creative world. It's going to be difficult. It's not like the first person you reach out to is going to just hand it to you. You're going to have to fight for it, and if you go into it thinking it's a short sprint and you just put all your energy into it, you're going to reach the end burnt out, and you might not even reach the end. But if you view it as a marathon, that you're slowly going along, slow and steady wins the race. It's a saying for a reason. I don't like the saying because I want to be there fast, but trying to take it on board. So a bit more detail. Obviously not going to say who I reached out to and who said no. It wasn't like a straight up rejection so much as I'm working on my own thing right now. Best of luck to you. And while it wasn't a yes, obviously, and I had to reach out to someone else who I will keep you updated on what they say. It was someone that I really admire taking me seriously enough to read through my proposal and say, good luck. I'm not the one for you, but I hope you find the one that is. And that means a lot to me. I was so worried that I would try and reach out to these people, and because I'm not a known name, because I don't even really know if I got the right contact information, like I'd just end up in a spam folder or ignored, and that didn't happen, which is just awesome. I know I'm over here raving about a no, but it's just headspace is so important. And I'm not just saying that like try and force yourself to view it as a positive. I honestly got the no, and I went around and I told my whole family that I got a no, and I was excited because someone read through my proposal and took me seriously enough to reply. That was awesome. And I'm just going to keep reaching out to people, and one of these days I'm going to get a yes. So I know this probably isn't the update that you wanted to get. You wanted me to say that, yeah, I reached out to someone and they said yes. And I wanted that too, but it's a long road, and a no now could be a yes in the future. I don't remember exactly who said that, but I think it might have been a blog I read about this. I'm just trying to keep that in mind. Even if I never work with this particular artist, I have now reached out to them. They know my name, and they know the name of my future comic. Who knows? Maybe they'll see it come out and be like, oh, I'm going to get that. And be like, oh, I like this. And maybe one day we'll work on something together. Maybe we won't. Whatever the case, I'm just happy that my proposal was professional enough to be taken seriously. And I reached out to someone else. I got the no. I replied to them nicely and respectfully, of course, because I have no hard feelings, so why would I have to do anything else? I then reached out to the second person that I was considering as a potential artist. And if that is also a no, then I'm thinking I will probably try and reach out to probably lesser known people. And I will do a video, of course, on how I find them, because that's going to be a journey that I don't really know how to embark upon, but I'm going to if I have to. And I probably will, but that'll be cool. It'd be awesome to work with someone who's also excited to get into the field. Whatever the case, I'm going to find an awesome artist, and so will you. Now, there is something that I also wanted to mention, which I sort of forgot to mention in the initial bit where I was writing up the message. I had my mom proofread it, and she also mentioned that I should talk about compensation, which was so smart. I, of course, knew that compensation would be a thing, but I sort of forgot to mention it. The artist is not doing this for free. So I went back and edited, and before I sent the email, and I talked about compensation. But you do then have to think about how you would pay this artist, because page rates and things like that, especially with the publisher that I want to use, they do not do page rates, at least as far as I understand that. So before doing any reaching out at all, I would look into compensation, and just honestly, I just learned a little. I know the barest minimum about this step, but I sort of figured that whatever artist I was working with, we would just sort of discuss it, and they'd be like, this is what I want to do, and I'd be like, okay, this is what I want to do, and we would compromise. But I would read about it and make sure that you're making an educated decision before you agree to something that you're not sure if you want to agree to. I will stop rambling now, and I will see you when I get my second reply. Or in 2 weeks. Who knows? So, it has been a week. I didn't get a reply, which is fine. I'm not taking it personally. I'm not offended. I'm not upset. I was expecting it, honestly. Not because of the person I reached out to, just because I was expecting to end up in people's spam folders primarily. And I can't know if I ended up in a spam folder or if I got ignored. But whatever the case, it's no big deal. And I'm not viewing it as a personal offense. I haven't decided that I dislike this person now. It's no big deal. It wasn't a success reaching out to established artists. Could I continue reaching out to more? Yes. However, most of the established artists that I know and like their work, I found them because I'm reading a series that they're currently putting out, so I'm going to assume that they're busy. Plus, it just feels unlikely to get an established artist when I'm such a new writer. So I tried it. I can now say that I tried it, and I will do it again in the future. I think I'll try with every single series I ever put out to reach out to an established artist, but the next step for me is to reach out to not unestablished artists in like a these aren't talented people way, but like unestablished in the sense that I haven't read a comic book that they wrote or illustrated before. So it's not like I'm going to be reaching out to like people that I own comic books from or that are even into comic book industry. It's going to be more like people like me. I want to get into this industry, and so I will work with you. Because another thing that I need to keep in mind is money. I don't want to think about money as a big feature in something like this, something creative, something that I want to apply my life to, something that I'm doing not for the money, but I'm doing for the joy that it brings me and the fact that I want to put my stories out into the world. But it's going to be a factor because everyone needs money. I'm currently in a privileged position where I don't need to worry about that yet because I still live with my parents, but I'm 18, you know, in a couple years, I'll probably want my own space. I'm gonna need to start thinking about money then. So I'm not like upset that someone wouldn't work with me because of money reasons. It makes sense. I do have to keep that in mind when doing this. I'm definitely thinking that the best shot I would have would be finding someone who wants to get into the industry and is in a position similar to me, where right now it's more about getting their work out there and becoming a known quantity than it is about getting and making money. So I'm hoping to reach out to people who are the artist equivalent of me. Don't know how easy that will be, but I'm going to have a separate video on that because, you know, this was about reaching out to established artists, and that will be about finding and reaching out to maybe lesser known artists, just as talented. There's so amazingly talented people in this world. There are so many talented artists. It's mind-blowing. So, you know, I'm going to do lots of stuff. I'm going to give you all the tips and tricks that I learned. I'm going to do research and link you to blog posts, hopefully, and all that stuff in the next video, continuing along in this vein. That video will probably be coming out in like a couple weeks, maybe, because I want to take time to do the research and actually know what I'm talking about and have results, whether they're positive or negative. I'm going to show you the full process realistically. I'm not just going to show you the good stuff, because my whole goal with this was to show people what publishing a comic book is like, what trying to get a comic book published is like. And I can't do that if I'm not honest, so I want to be honest. I'm going to talk about when I'm having a bad day. I'm going to talk about writer's block. I'm going to talk about not getting published. I'm going to talk about getting published. I'm going to talk about reaching out to artists and getting rejected. I'm going to talk about reaching out to artists and getting accepted, you know? Because what makes something seem possible, what makes people be inspired, at least in my experience, isn't seeing how it all went right for someone, it's seeing how it went wrong, but they got through anyway. So yeah, this wasn't a success story, but I wouldn't call it a defeat either, because I reached out to two artists that I greatly admire. And from one of them, I got a best of luck, I'm just not the right fit for you right now. From one I didn't hear back, but I'm not gonna take that personally. You're gonna get knocked down, and even if someone doesn't knock you down intentionally, not maliciously, if it's just like another obstacle in your path, then you're just gonna keep going. And the right artist or the right publisher or the right idea for your story or the right character to go in this scene, it'll come along. You just gotta be patient and you gotta not give up. Not giving up is the number one thing. Just don't give up. Don't feel upset or bitter or resentful or any bad negative emotions from this experience. I just feel really excited that I'm finally trying to work on getting this series published, and that I reached out to people and that I put myself out there, because that was so scary. But now that I've done it, I feel like I can keep doing it. You know, when I reached out to the first person, I was like, well, I reached out to them, so now I can reach out to the next person, and then I can reach out to the next person. If you take anything out of this, just take away, it's gonna be a long road, but you'll get there. And enjoy the walk. You'll notice I didn't say the sprint or the run. It's a long road, and you're gonna walk it. Nice and leisurely like, you know? And just enjoy that process. I plan to continue coming out with videos on this topic and the entire publication journey, wherever that may take me, forever. I don't know, like forever, because I want to just show you literally everything. Right now I'm trying to find an artist, but I'm also working on writing. Once I find an artist, I'll talk about collaborating with them, and then I'll talk about trying to reach out to publishers, what worked, what didn't, you know. Once I am published, I'll talk about promoting it. All sorts. I'm just going to talk about all the stuff. All the stuff. So thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in that, or on writing educational videos, because I also have things like that, where I talk about how to take an idea and turn it into a story, or I talk about the in-depth formatting of a comic book, or I talk about, I don't know, I dress up in different outfits and I do silly voices and I talk about writing tips. I do that too. I do all sorts of stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be coming out with more videos like this and focusing on other topics as well from now until forever. So if you're interested in checking that out, please subscribe. It really does mean the world to me. And hit that bell notification button so that you don't miss anything I post, because I post a lot. And I need a slogan. Okay, bye.